Good morning. It's about 7:30 a.m. Sun has just risen. We are about to pack up camp, but we are at Barrow Creek, or just a few k's north of Barrow Creek, and we're at an old World War II staging area. So I think this is a private property, but you can come and you can camp here, and it's a huge open section with just a few trees dotted around, but lots of grass. It's really lovely. There's about 6-7 other campsites or campers spread out. Most of them are in caravans, and you can sort of see the remnants of a World War II staging area throughout here. But what we wanted to show you this morning was something a little bit different, a little bit of a different video, because we have been on the road now for 1 month, just over 1 month. So here's what I thought I would show you this morning. Here are my 10 favorite items, small items, 10 favorite small items. There's some other things that are larger, which I'm not really going to show you, but 10 favorite items. And the way, or the process that I went about this morning thinking, how do I choose my 10 favorite small items, was I went all Marie Kondo on you and thought to myself, which are my 10 items that bring me joy? So here they are. First and foremost, no particular order here, my socks. These are icebreaker socks, and it's not really about icebreaker as such, but I love having merino wool socks. Last year I made the decision to switch all of my socks out and go with only merino wool socks, and they are fantastic. It was a fantastic decision, and I get so much longer out of these socks than I used to out of just your standard rubbish cotton socks. I can go 4 or 5 days, I could probably go longer, but they just don't feel all gooey like your normal socks do. Merino wool socks, they are expensive. I think these were like $30, $35 a pair, but I love them. Merino wool socks and merino wool underwear. It's fantastic. All right. Second thing, I bought this a few years ago. It is a Silky Big Boy saw. It is brilliant. The reason why I love this is that with traveling with 4 kids, we had to make the decision on how do we cut down weight and how do we cut down on bulky items. So there's a number of things in this list which fit into that category, and that's why I've chosen them. And we got rid of a chainsaw that we used to carry, and now we just carry this. It is fantastic. It folds up really neatly, and it's actually really, really sharp. I think I've had this now since 2016, so we're coming up to 5 years, and I've just changed the first blade that I had because it broke last week. But really easy to use, and they are great. All right, I've had the Silky Big Boy for a few years. The next one is a rather new item. So what are we up to? We've done socks number 1, Silky Big Boy number 2. We're up to number 3, Jetboil Stash. This is a new little camp stove from Jetboil. And the reason why I love this is that everything folds up into the actual stove itself. And I use this all the time for a quick coffee, or when we're out for a hike, whatever. This is just nice, it is neat, it works really well. It's probably only really good for boiling water, so you're thinking either making a coffee or tea, or boiling water to heat up your food that you've got. That's the little stove. It just screws onto the canister, and that sits on top. Really cool, really neat, packs down really small, and we use this all the time. A lot of the time when we're pulling up for a quick stop, I can't be bothered setting up our big stove, or we're out for a walk, and so we just chuck this in the bag and it works really well. Similar sort of thinking to that is number 4, our little kettle. This is a silicon kettle. It's made by Cedar Summit. it folds down flat. So, when it's all folded down, well, it still had some water in it. It folds down like that, and you can store it really easily. But it's not just that, because that kettle I think is 1.3 litres. We've also got a 2.8 litre pot from Cedar Summit, and I think this is a 4 litre pot as well with a lid. So this is great. Like, this we use for boiling pasta, or lots of water to wash up dishes. But the reason why we had to go for these was that once again we were struggling with space and finding how do we minimize some of the contents to store, and pots are one of those things which we need a lot of because we're cooking for lots of people, but we didn't want to carry a lot of big bulky pots, so we went with these Cedar Summit ones. They are great, but we've got to be a little bit careful on our gas stove, because what we do find is that if the flame comes up and touches the edges, on this one it's okay because it's nice and large, but on a smaller little kettle, if the flame touches the edges, it can damage the silicone sidewalls. So we've got to be a little bit careful with that. One thing we don't have to be careful with, what's this, number 4 I think on our list, is our, maybe it's 5. Maybe it's 5. What have we gone through? We've gone through number 1, which was our socks. Number 2, I think was the big boy. Nah, it's number 4 or 5. But one thing we don't have to be careful about is our frying pan. This is made by a company down near us in Melbourne. It's by Hillbilly, and it is huge. I think this is 27 centimeters across at the base and then a little bit wider at the top. It folds up really neatly. It slides into a little spot in our kitchen that we weren't really using, and it's heavy. It holds heat really well. We use it on our camp stove, on the kitchen, and you can just take it and you can sit it directly on the fire as well, because it's just spun steel. It's nothing special. You just give it a scrub, wipe it down, and it's really cool. All right, next up, my Snow Peak insulated cup. What is this? This is the titanium double wall 450ml cup with a little lid on it. I hated the first few years of going camping and having my coffee in the morning going cold within the first few minutes. We were just using those cheaper tin mugs that you can get for camping, and they were okay, but your coffee, the heat just leaked out of the sidewalls. This keeps my coffee so warm in the morning, and I use it every day. Next up, I don't know what number we're up to. We're just going to keep going through until I've gone through all of my gear here that I've got on the table. Next up, my Clean Canteen insulated coffee thermos. So I think my mug was 450ml. This, I fit 350ml of coffee in it, and I use this the same amount as I use my mug. Actually no, I use my mug more because I use my mug for drinking whiskey, I use it for drinking wine, I use it for drinking every other alcohol I can possibly pour into it, and water. It's more useful, but every morning we get up, I make myself one coffee and I have it in my insulated mug, and then I make myself a second coffee to go for the road. This is by Clean Canteen. It works really well. It says it's spill proof, and it's just got a little twist cap on the top. So you twist it, it opens up, you can take a drink, and then you just twist it again and it closes, and it claims to be spill proof, but I think it's a bit of a liar. That's my only thing that I find wrong with this insulated thermos, that if it does tip over, I always find that a few drops just leak out, which means I never really want to store it in a bag or whatever, but it's great just in the car, and it's really good to drink from while driving. Coffee, that is. All right, where are we up to? Cool, I've got a few things left. One of them I am wearing And these are my Patagonia, what are they called? Capilene Trail t-shirts. And they're not merino wool. I really want to get a merino wool or get some merino wool t-shirts, but they're expensive. These weren't cheap either. I think these were at $60. But these are their Capilene Trail t-shirts. They're really lightweight, but they're quite warm in cool weather, cool in warm weather, and they're treated with something that makes them non-stink. And I wear them day in, day out, and to be honest, I get about 4 or 5 days out of a set, and then I change them over to the other set and wash them. They are really nice, really comfortable. And you don't get that sort of sticky, slimy feel that when you pull on a t-shirt that you've been wearing for a few days. Now, maybe you don't wear your t-shirts for a few days. When we're camping, I do. I get as long out of my clothes as possible, but these just feel fresh each and every day. Patagonia Capilene Trail t-shirts. All right, coming near the end, I've got my knife. This is actually, it's not my knife that I use every day. The knife that I use every day is just like a little Leatherman. This is the knife that I use when we're out in a camping sort of setup, and I love it. It's only fairly new to being used. I've had it for a while. I'm undecided whether I'm going to keep it, but I do love it. Well, the reason why I love it, well, first of all, it's a Becca K-Bar BK2 from Becca BK2, K-Bar Becca BK2 knife. That's what it is, K-Bar Becca BK2 knife. It is huge. It is big. It's not really a daily use knife. It's more like a survival knife or like a real camp knife. The great thing about this though, that I really love, and what I've been loving about it, is using it to chop up wood. And what I mean by that, I don't mean like an axe, but putting it in the wood, getting another piece of wood and actually slamming it down across the top of this to split smaller logs of wood while we've been out at campsites. It's worked really well. Like I said, I love it. It's really cool that it's really popular in the camping world, but I'm undecided whether I'm going to keep it because I feel like it's only good for big tasks like that, where you're really wanting to like slam it into something, do a lot of heavy cutting work, and to be honest, maybe I need to go for a smaller knife. I don't know. I was undecided about putting it into this kit, but I do like it. It's good, it's cool, and it's fun. All right, we're coming near to the end now. Oh, I missed something before. I missed some of my coffee gear. I've combined 2 things, to be honest. I had a list of 10 things, and going through them, I should have put like little sticky tabs on them telling you what's number 1, what's number 2. I don't know where we're up to. I think we're up to 8. Well, I'm gonna say we're up to 8 because I can only see 2 more things on my table that I haven't told you about. And number 8 here, I've combined these things, even though they're made by different companies. One is my grinder. This is made by Comandante. It's their, I think, Mark II, maybe Mark III. But it's the Comandante grinder. Really cool. Open up the top, pour your beans in top, grind away, and the ground beans come into the bottom. I like my ground beans, and with that I have my Hario V60 pour over system. So a little paper filter goes in there, you pour your ground beans into it, and you just pour water over while it sits on top of your mug, and there you have lovely, delicious, tasty black coffee. That's how everyone should be drinking their coffee. Black. No milk, no sugar. It is very delicious. This is not the greatest thing to bring camping, to be honest. It's got a glass bottom, it's a bit bulky, you can't fold the handle up, but it just makes really good coffee. Really good grind. It is uncomparable with any of my electric grinders that I've used over the years. This is either just as good or better in its adjustment. I like my coffee. I've got one more thing that's not on this table, but it's kind of small. It's small because it packs up really small. And that is my Halinox Sunset chair. We changed all of our chairs over to the Halinox chairs because what we found was that six of them are about the same size as one single of our old chairs. These are incredibly light, as you can see. They're really strong, they're really comfortable, but best of all, they just pack up so small. We really rate them. They're probably one of the things that we are most thankful for purchasing while preparing for this trip and changing over, because we needed storage, we needed some space within the camper trailer, and we are really happy that we grabbed these chairs. They're not cheap. Emma's gonna bring me one. She's just packed one up because she's getting ready. This is the size that this packs up into. We have 2 of these, and then we've got 4 of the chair ones, which are slightly smaller in size, but they have been a game changer for us in just how we can maximize space and efficiency. Oh yeah, bring over the smaller one as we pack up our camper trailer. These are the smaller ones. So Halinox Chair 1 is the smaller one, Sunset is the bigger one. You can see that this one's about 3/4 the size of this one, but this one has a higher back, sits a bit high off the ground, and to be honest, is more comfortable. Well, that brings me to the end of my top 10 Marie Kondo things that bring me joy. Have a great day.